What would you do if you heard your sister scream from behind a locked door, and no one else noticed? A trusted teacher, a loving stepfather in public, was hiding a dark and dangerous truth behind the door in your own home. But what this 7-year-old boy did to expose it not only helped his sister, but unknowingly, 100 more. What was the stepfather doing? Listen to today's story and please let us know where you're listening from. Please also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The leaves painted the sidewalks in fiery shades as 7-year-old Caleb Morgan played quietly on the floor of his bedroom in Maple Ridge, a quiet Boston suburb. His toy cars were his world, a place he could escape the silence that had filled the Morgan house ever since Tom Granger, their stepfather, moved in. His sister, 12-year-old Jenna, used to laugh, sing, and read him stories. Now she hid in her room, draped in oversized sweaters and unspoken pain. Caleb watched her go down the stairs when Tom called, his voice slicing through the house like a blade. Jenna flinched with every word. Caleb wanted to scream, but fear kept him silent. He remembered last week when he tried to defend her and was sent to bed without dinner. He clutched his stuffed dinosaur tighter, whispering a prayer his grandmother had taught him. Tom Granger was a beloved teacher at Oak Hollow Middle School. To the public, he was charming, patient, helpful. But behind closed doors, he controlled Jenna with sharp words and cold eyes. Their mother, Melanie Morgan, a nurse at St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, worked long shifts and missed the small signs, Jenna's flinches, her silences, the way she avoided her stepfather's gaze. Caleb saw it all, every subtle change in Tom's behavior when their mom entered the room, how his tone would suddenly become light and pleasant. He noticed the bruises Jenna always tried to cover, the way she wore long sleeves even when it was hot, and the way she flinched if anyone moved too quickly near her. He saw her eyes lose their light, her once vibrant laughter silenced by something she never talked about. And he heard the muffled cries at night, the kind of crying someone tries to hide, buried deep in a pillow, as if being quiet could make it all go away. Caleb would often press his ear to the wall, clutching his stuffed dinosaur, and wonder why no one else seemed to hear the pain that filled the house. It was a Thursday night. Melanie worked the overnight shift. Caleb was eating cereal. Jenna offered to make him real food, but Tom snapped from upstairs, demanding she help grade papers. Caleb heard yelling, sharp, angry words. Then came crying, not loud sobs, but the kind of choked-back weeping that came from trying not to be heard. He sat frozen at the kitchen table, his spoon motionless in his cereal bowl. Then something slammed hard against the floor above, maybe a drawer, maybe a door, maybe Jenna herself, and Caleb's stomach dropped like a stone. The sounds of shuffling, another harsh word barked out, and a muffled whimper followed. The whole house seemed to hold its breath with him as he strained to listen, hoping for silence but dreading what might come next. Caleb remembered Miss Carter's words during school safety week. If someone you love is in danger, call 911. Even kids can be heroes. His small hands shook as he dialed. 911. What's your emergency? It's my sister, he whispered. My stepdad's hurting her. Please help. Police cars arrived with blaring sirens. Officer James Nolan led the charge into the house. Tom Granger tried to play it calm, putting on his usual mask of innocence. He told the officers there must be some mistake, that perhaps someone was overreacting, but his composure cracked the moment 2 officers headed upstairs. Jenna was found there, sitting on the floor beside her bed, her face tear-streaked, her arms trembling, and visible bruises blooming on her wrists and neck. Her oversized sweater was torn at the shoulder, and her voice barely emerged when the officers gently spoke to her. Paramedics moved swiftly, checking her vitals and securing her for transport, while a female officer knelt beside her, assuring her she was safe now. As paramedics rushed her out, she locked eyes with Caleb. Call Mom, she whispered. Please. Detective Naomi Reyes knelt beside Caleb in the living room. You did the right thing, kid. At the precinct, Caleb clutched his dinosaur as he recounted everything. The yelling, the insults, the bruises. Jenna had once been his superhero. Tonight he was hers. Meanwhile, Melanie's world shattered under the weight of realization. She sat in the family services room, hands trembling, her nurse's scrubs still faintly stained from her overnight shift. I missed it, she whispered, voice breaking. I let him near them. I trusted him with my children. How could I not see it? Her guilt was palpable. Dr. Alicia Bennett, the seasoned child psychologist, sat across from her with calm empathy in her eyes. She leaned forward, her voice steady but warm. Melanie, you need to understand. Abusers like Tom are calculated. He manipulated not just your children, but you, the school, everyone around him. That's what makes him so dangerous. But here's what matters most right now. Your son saw through him. Caleb saved his sister. He acted with courage most adults can't summon. That act changed everything. Detective Reyes started connecting the dots. Tom had transferred between 3 schools. Each time, girls aged 11 to 13 had complained informally. No investigations, no follow-ups. A familiar name emerged, Alyssa Freeman. She'd nearly taken her life after months of subtle emotional abuse. She was ready to testify. Then came Elaine Bradford, a retired vice principal. She had kept every complaint, every note, every concern. I couldn't stop him then, she said. But I can now. Jenna and Caleb moved in with their Aunt Dana while Melanie filed for divorce. Therapy began. Jenna still checked the locks at night. Caleb asked questions no child should. But slowly, the weight began to lift. Jenna returned to her books. Caleb drew superheroes at school, always a brother and sister holding hands. Jenna joined a support group, jokingly dubbed the Courage Circle. Led by Alyssa Freeman, they shared stories, bonded over pain, and found power in their voices. Jenna spoke of how Tom erased her piece by piece, her confidence, her friends, even soccer. But Caleb saw me even when I couldn't see myself, she told them. The courtroom was packed. Former victims lined the benches. Elaine Bradford presented years of evidence. Alyssa testified through tears. Caleb's 911 call was played. His voice steady and clear. Jenna stopped being Jenna. Tom heard her when Mom wasn't home. The stillness in the room spoke volumes. No one could deny the weight of truth coming from a child who had seen far too much. The judge, visibly moved, looked over at the man who had used his position of authority to inflict years of quiet damage. Tom was sentenced to 25 years, no parole for 15. His teaching license was revoked permanently. He left the courtroom in handcuffs, his once confident stride now reduced to a shameful shuffle. As he passed the victims seated in the gallery, Jenna, Alyssa, Elaine, and others, he averted his eyes, finally silenced by the strength of the voices he once tried so desperately to suppress. And at the end of the row sat Caleb, small but unflinching, holding his sister's hand. Justice had spoken, and it spoke in the voice of a child who refused to let evil win. Jenna returned to soccer. Caleb advanced to the top of his class. Their home was repainted, furniture rearranged, every trace of Tom erased. The Baker Initiative was born, a statewide policy enforcing mandatory abuse reporting, background checks, and student counseling. On the courthouse steps, Melanie, Jenna, and Caleb held hands. "Are we okay now?" Caleb asked. "We're better than okay," Melanie said. "We're free." Spring came to Maple Ridge. Flowers bloomed. Soccer whistles blew. The Courage Circle expanded. Caleb's bravery inspired reforms in schools across 3 states. Jenna wrote in her essay, "Justice isn't just about punishment. It's about truth. And sometimes, truth comes from the smallest voice in the darkest hour." And that voice saved not just his sister, but hundreds more. If you were in Caleb's shoes, just 7 years old, would you have had the courage to make that call? And how many children are still waiting for someone to speak up for them? How would you protect their children from such abuse in their own homes? Please let us know in the comments, and thank you for listening to Storyline Narratives.